Good evening and welcome to Channel 8 Sports, where tonight we're at the John McGowan Field of J.P. Stevens High School, where the East Brunswick Bears take on J.P. Stevens in a very critical game, particularly for East Brunswick. And joining me once again is Phil Hill and Jim Allinder. Let me start with you, Phil, since you've been scouting Stevens, a team that has been a nemesis for East Brunswick for the last several years. What can you tell us about the Stevens team this year?
Well, John, they're a typical J.P. Stevens High School team, which means that they're good. They've been holding their opponents to 73 yards per game rushing and 69 yards per game passing, so they have an outstanding defense. They have a real balanced offense, probably much more balanced than any J.P. Stevens team has ever had. They can pass the ball well, they can run the ball well.
All right. Jimmy, East Brunswick is coming off a rather devastating loss to Perth Amboy last week, and I've got to think we need to wonder what type of motivation we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, John, devastating is the word to describe that loss to Perth Amboy, and for that reason I think this is probably the most difficult game of the season to figure out, because the situation with East Brunswick, of course, is that they are essentially eliminated from the playoffs, not mathematically, and it would be very complicated to get in to discuss that right now. But the fact is they did lose to Perth Amboy, and being 2 games behind tonight's opponent, Stevens, and Madison Central, you really don't figure the Bears to be a threat to win the Red Division of the GMC. But very simply, beating their opponent tonight, J.P. Stevens, could make up for a lot of that the devastation that they suffered. So we're going to have to see if East Brunswick can really do something well tonight.
All right, East Brunswick has won the toss, and they'll receive the ball to start off the game. They'll be moving left to right on your screen. East Brunswick's in the white jersey, Stevens in the home green. And let me say something at the outset. We are taping this game from the far corner of the visitors' bleachers. We were not able to get any booth space here at J.P. Stevens High School, and so we're at a little disadvantage in the sense that our perspective is off from the field, and more importantly, we're right under the speaker. So we apologize for any interference, and we'll do our best to present the game in a fashion that is reminiscent of what we are used to and you are used to at home.
John, we're going to get ready for the kickoff. I mentioned how hard it was going to be to determine the outcome of the game, but I think the Bears do have every opportunity to come away with a win tonight. If they show that kind of offensive potency that they had against Edison and play defense like they did against Woodbridge. We'll see.
All right, we're ready here for the opening kickoff. And here we go. This will be Pruss at his own 10. Pruss will be up around the 25.
Taken by Ken Pruss, brought back over the 25 to the 26-yard line, where the Bears will have it first and 10.
Well, John, I tell you, East Brunswick has given an indication that they're going to do something different today. Usually they fake a reverse or do a reverse on the kickoff. This time they had a straight up the middle return, so they're going to do some things different.
Bruce Forte is the quarterback for East Brunswick.
All right, the Bears come out first and 10. The ball is spotted at the 25, their own 25. Pruss comes in motion. Forte rolls right, looking to throw on first down. He hits his man.
Forte completes a pass to...
Phil, you talked about doing something different tonight. And talking to Marcus Borden before the game, he mentioned that there's going to be a lot of different things that you might see, especially on defense. Obviously, East Brunswick's on offense right now, but we're going to watch and see once East Brunswick goes on defense, and we'll talk more about that later.
All right, the pass was complete. It'll bring up a 2nd and 4, the ball on the East Brunswick 32. That's Pruss with the ball.
This time,
I'm sorry, that was Matt Miller.
Right side, a pickup of maybe a rod. We'll call it 3rd and 3. The ball on the 33-yard on the Bears 33-yard line.
John, I think we're going to really have some fun tonight with this speaker right above us.
Well, I'm just hoping this guy doesn't decide to become Al Michaels and do play-by-play for us. Anyway, it's 3rd and 3 for the Bears. The ball on their own 33. Forte hands off to Harmon. And Harmon looks like he's got enough for the first down.
Russ is over the 35.
And that, of course, is what East Brunswick wanted to do this evening, get that initial first down, establish some sort of tempo. Phil, I would look to see Brian Forte to do a little passing this evening.
I think you're going to see a lot of passing, and I got some thoughts about that, Jimmy. I'll tell you a little bit later.
All right, the Bears with a 1st and 10 on their own 36. Forte dropping the pass. He's got time, now being pressured and tries to dump it off.
Forte's pass.
It's incomplete, intended for Matt Miller.
Brian got that ball off. He would have been sacked. Just a quick flick of the wrist, and he got the ball off to save the sack. Jimmy, I was saying that you're going to see a lot of passing, I think. I think Marcus Borden knows that he's going to have to pass on his team in order to beat this team. And I tell you, what I really feel is that if they can pass and trick them, then perhaps they'll be treated today. It is Halloween.
All right, they'll bring 2nd and 10 up for the Bears.
You were thinking about that one all night, Phil, I know.
From the 37, Forte rolls left. He's in trouble, and he's going to be dropped for a loss. Back around the 35-yard line.
You know, one of the major problems last week in the loss to Perth Amboy was the inability of the offensive line to keep Perth Amboy's defense out of there. And certainly if Brian is going to have a good evening in the passing department, he's going to have protection.
It'll be a 3rd and 13 now for East Brunswick. 9:27 here in the first period. No score. The ball on the East Brunswick 34. This is the opening possession of the game. Pruss in motion. Forte looking to pass once again. Throwing it up for Pruss. Pruss makes a nice catch. To be short of the first down, but a fine reception by Ken Pruss.
I'll tell you, great hands again by Kenny Pruss. It's nothing new. We're used to it by now. But he showed great concentration and good hands, hauled the ball in, and close to a first down.
All right, it'll bring up a 4th and about 2. We'll see if East Brunswick goes for it, and they are. Forte is in the huddle.
Sure, we know that Marcus Borden is going to take some chances that apparently probably wouldn't under playoff circumstances.
All right, obviously he's going to punt.
Okay.
Forte back to punt. The ball is on East Brunswick 46, but 2 yards to go. Forte will punt the ball. Go out of bounds and down by East Brunswick.
Down at about the 19-yard line.
So J.P. Stevens will take over for their first offensive possession of the game.
Brian Forte punting for the Bears.
J.P. Stevens is coming in here, John, and they've had plenty of injuries. They've had 5 different running backs injured, 7 players injured, according to Coach Simonelli last week. But they seem to have people ready to fill in, so they'll be ready to go.
1st and 10 for the Hawks. On their own 19.
All right, Ray Patrico is at quarterback. He's got Dior and Katina in the backfield with him. Here's a handoff straight up the middle.
John, you mentioned our vantage point is very difficult from here, so we're going to give it a try. I have the field glasses tonight and see what we can do to help.
Okay, that was Katina on the carry. He picked up about 2 yards.
On the 21-yard line.
The Hawks will have it 2nd and 8. The ball is on their own 21. No score here in first period. We're down to 7:45. Trico hands off to Katina.
Katina again to the left to about the 23 or 24-yard line. And we are running on a 3rd and 6.
Well, we have probably the best 2 pair of hands out here today, and Ken Pruss and Tony Mayers, both excellent receivers. This kid Mayers has a tremendous set of hands, and I think you're probably going to see him perhaps on this down right here.
Well, it's 3rd and 6 for the Hawks. Ball on their own 24. Trico calling signals. He's looking to pass. Sets up. Throwing for his split end, Tony Myers, but incomplete.
And there you have it. Ken Pruss, number 20 on 46 Myers, probably the 2 best receivers in the area.
Well, it'll bring up a 4th down for the Hawks, and East Brunswick will get the ball back again and should have pretty good field position.
You know, East Brunswick, despite all the problems they've had, really hasn't had anybody pass successfully against them, Phil, and we're just going to have to watch that closely, see how successful Stevens is tonight.
Good point, Jim.
Bears in punt formation, Brother Hooks. Will kick from about zone 13.
All right, Mayers will do the punting. Gets a nice kick off. Pruss is going to field it at about the 35. Run on the left side. He's got plenty of room.
He's going.
Ken Press is going to go one man, and he takes him down.
That punter was able to stop him, number 48.
Tony Mayers tackled Ken Pruss.
Was it Mayers,
It
Phil?
was Mayers, yeah.
Okay.
Fine run back by Ken Pruss, and that's going to give East Brunswick a little boost.
Stevens 25.
Well, I tell you, I saw this JP Stevens team against Cedar Ridge last week, John, and they were the first half, they were very flat. Cedar Ridge was in the game totally, and if they're going to come out like that this half, if East Brunswick can take it to them, it'll be a great advantage.
All right, we have 6:35 to go, first period, no action. East Brunswick has the ball on the Stevens 23, 1st and 10. Fine punt return by Ken Pruss set up this field position. Forte, long count, looking to throw. Being pressured. Tries to dump it off, incomplete. He was looking for number 4, Hoyt.
Incomplete. Second down, second.
There you go, that defensive pressure by Stevens.
Well, it's going to be the best defensive pressure that East Brunswick has seen this year, but also East Brunswick is going to be the best passing team that JP Stevens has seen this year, so it should prove to be interesting before the evening's out.
Right, and that's the unknown factor about this game, really, and that's why it is so interesting.
Let's point out that Jeff Hoyt is in there, and he's a newcomer to us here at Channel 8. And we'll see how often Forte looks for him. Anyway, it's 2nd and 10 for the Bears. Forte with a deep drop, looking to set up a screen. He's got it. That's Matt Miller.
Had the makings of some rather large yardage, but Stevens, as they always are, react very well defensively.
Extremely well. They're just a well-coached team. Coach Simonelli has done a fine job. Stevens hasn't done anything new. You expect them to react that way, and they've done that thus far.
All right. That brings up a 3rd and 3 for the Bears on the Stevens 16-yard line. Down to 5:29 in the first period. Here's a handoff to Harmon off the left side, but Harmon's not going to get much.
To the Stevens left side.
And here comes Josh Miller in for a field goal try.
Tripped up by Jed Warner. 4th down.
We're going to have to guess the yardage on this because of our vantage point.
Okay, John, from the 16-yard line, bring it back 7. So we are looking at probably a 32-yarder.
All right, Josh Miller on for the field goal
Josh
attempt.
Miller will try a 33-yard field goal.
Here's the snap. The kick is up. And it's good. And East Brunswick's on the board first, 3-0.
And you're right, it's very difficult to see whether that was a 32 or 37-yarder. I heard the loudspeaker say 37 yards, so we're going to go by him simply because he's a little higher up.
Simply because he's dominating the conversation here.
I tell you, I want to reiterate that if East Brunswick can jump out early, not with just that field goal, but with the touchdown or several other points, they can upset JP Stevens. I firmly believe that. I said before they're going to have to do some passing, they're going to have to do some trick plays, and I think if they can do that, they can beat JP Stevens tonight.
Right. I agree with that, Phil. Getting out in front against this team is always a good situation.
All right, so Josh Miller will kick it off to JP Stevens. 4:39 to go here in the first period. East Brunswick on top, 3-0. Rather brisk night here in Edison. And Miller with a low kick. It's going to bound around. That's Mayers with the ball. Around his own 20. Mayers tries to break through.
Yeah, Phil, he showed some ability on that run back right there. I can see just why he's touted as good as he is.
Well, he just has good field presence and just real good ability. Surprisingly, Tony Mayers is not very fast. I mean, he runs about a 4.6 40. Last year he ran a 5 flat 40, and he's just improved. But he has quick feet, but he's not what you call speedy.
Okay.
All right, the Hawks with 1st and 10 on their own 37.
Look at East Brunswick's defensive alignment here. 10 men up front.
Patrico, hands off. And that's Dior. Dior with the carry.
And that's what Marcus Borden was telling us before the game. He says, don't be surprised if you see us with a 10 or 11-man front.
All right, Dior picks up about 2. It'll be 2nd and 8. Ball on their own 38 for Stevens. Down to 3:40. That's Mayers in motion. Patrico fumble. East Brunswick's got it. Poor exchange, and East Brunswick another turnover.
Big break for East Brunswick.
That was press on the ball. And I have to think that defense caused a little bit of confusion in Stevens' backfield. East Brunswick blitzed about 4 people that time. And Patrico just simply didn't have enough time to get the ball off, and he was tackled real hard.
All right, the Bears take over on the Hawks 37, 1st and 10. Good field position. Bus goes in motion. This is Harmon. Harmon's just tripped up, pick up about a yard or 2.
Number 34, Mark Harmon. Harmon picks up 2, he'll have a 2nd and 8.
Down to 2:58.
John, you often hear coaches talking about getting the running game established to open up the passing game. Against a team like J.P. Stevens, I think you might have to do the opposite. I think you have to get the passing game going in order to open up the running game. They're just that tough.
Well, Forte is 2 for 4 so far for 17 yards.
All right, the Bears looking at a 2nd and 8. Ball on the Stevens 38. Forte with the deep drop. Now has to roll to his left, being pressured. Forte gets away, dumps it off. That's Brunig. Brunig gets back to about the line of scrimmage.
Well, again, great pursuit by the J.P. Stevens team. Brian Forte showed a nice touch there in getting the ball off the Brunig. But again, J.P. Stevens' team is all over the place. They're not very big, but they're just scrappy.
They're quick. They're quick, Phil.
All right, so Brunig does bring it back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 8 now.
This could turn out to be a defensive struggle.
We're down to 1:56, first period. Forte will pass. Looking downfield, he's got Pruss. And Pruss dropped the ball, knocked out of his hands actually. So it'll bring up a 4th down for the Bears.
Well, I tell you, it brings up a 4th down, but you can see some things early on. East Brunswick can pass on this team, and I think, I hate to belabor a point, that's what they're going to have to do. J.P. Stevens, again, has not seen a team able to pass like East Brunswick, and as East Brunswick can get their game going, they're going to create a big surprise for J.P. Stevens.
That's Forte in punt formation, John, but let's watch for the pass.
It's 4th and 8. I'm sure he's going to punt. Forte looking for the corner. Nice punt. The ball will bound around inside the 20, and that's where Stevens will take over.
Yeah, well, John, actually it wasn't that nice a punt. I think he was trying to get the corner there, and the ball sort of hung up some, maybe up on the 20. He would have liked to get it a lot deeper down there.
All right, Phil, East Brunswick did not capitalize on a turnover right there. Certainly, Stevens is a quality team and doesn't commit that many turnovers. They're going to have to take advantage of these sooner or later. You just cannot keep a team like Stevens down for the entire game. And of course, we saw that. You alluded to that against Cedar Ridge last week.
Well, true, but it's still early, though, Jimmy.
Stevens 1st and 10 on their own 18. There's a little confusion, and Patrico will call timeout.
I'll tell you, looking at Patrico calling timeout there, and talking to Coach Simonelli, he said that the young man checked off 10 to 12 times last week, so apparently he saw something on the East Brunswick defense that disturbed him so that he couldn't even check off on it. Cost him a timeout.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of emotion with this game right now, but I think the teams are settling down into their game plans. But I suspect that East Brunswick is probably a little dogged from that defeat last week to Perth Amboy. Just to pick up very briefly on that Amboy loss, Marcus Borden had some rather strong words to say last week about the officiating. And knowing him, gentlemen, as we do, he is not one to complain about officiating or using that as an excuse. So you have to believe that there was some questionable calls in that defeat last week. But you have to chalk that up as an experience for the young players on the East Brunswick team.
Well, as we get back to the action, there's 1:09 left in the first period. East Brunswick leading 3-0. Stevens has a 1st and 10 on their own 18. And Patrico will look to throw. He's looking out to the right for Mayers. Mayers makes the catch.
Pass Patrico to Mayers.
Jim, you might ask yourself, where does Tony Mayers come from? East Brunswick knew him last year, they probably didn't think of him that much. He was the young man who caught the very last touchdown pass in the championship game last year. Remember when Simonelli came out there to the 4-yard line, surprised everybody, and threw a pass to a young man standing all alone? That was Tony Mayers. Hadn't played much in varsity ball last year, but that's J.P. Stevens' team. These guys come out of nowhere.
All right, we have a timeout for an official measurement.
Jim, I like to amplify on what you're talking about, that it just doesn't seem quite as exciting. Let's tell it like it is. Some of the luster has been taken off of this game. I think all of us, everybody's been looking forward to this game from the beginning of the year. And yes, with East Brunswick losing to Perth Amboy last week, some of the luster has been taken off. But I'll tell you, if J.P. Stevens isn't excited about this game, East Brunswick will take it away from him.
Second down.
And that's the excitement of high school football on any given evening, as we've have been shown. Any team can win. Sorry, John, go ahead.
Now, Stevens was short of the 1st down, so they'll have a 2nd and 1 on their own 28. 1:04 to go in the first period. Trico brings him out. Quarterback keeper looking for the 1st down, and he's got it.
Keeps moves for the 1st down.
Trico going behind that big line of his.
30-yard line.
Very well drilled, similar to East Brunswick in many respects.
Patrico runs the ball more than any quarterback that I've seen this year. I saw him again last week against Cedar Ridge. He must have ran the ball at least 8 or 9 times himself, so he doesn't mind running the ball.
Of course, that was due also to Phil Bradley being out.
Stevens, 1st and 10 on their own 32. And we have flags. We're going to have some, I believe, motion called against Stevens, but let's see. It is a procedure call. It's against East Brunswick.
Offside, 5 yards, so the Hawks will have it 1st and 5.
That'll give Stevens a 1st down and 5 yards to go now. The ball on their own 36. 35 seconds to go in the first period with the Bears leading 3-0.
Again, East Brunswick with a 10-man front.
Trico looking to pass. He's got time. He's got a man open. Pruss missed. Looking for the ball as Brunig trying to make a tackle. Touchdown. That's Curtis Sharp. Crossing pattern.
I'll tell you, a fine pass by Patrico, and the young man, Sharp, caught the ball in stride and took it in.
Right, that was Rick Oken on the coverage.
Just a well-executed play.
Sharp on the 37, good for 63 yards and a touchdown. For the penalty kick, Elso to Hurdle.
All right, Stevens trying to add the extra point. 63-yard pass play. The kick is up, and it's no good.
Okay, that's Leon Theodoreau, I believe, the kicker. Or is that Theodoreau for Stevens?
No, it's a
Okay.
kid called Gleason Theodoreau. Remember the kid last year?
That's right.
He's been hurt from the beginning of the year. He hasn't played at all. He during the summer he hurt his back, and so a very valuable weapon he was last year, but he hasn't played at all this year.
Right, and with Stevens missing that extra point, it gives East Brunswick an opportunity to tie that game with a field goal. And obviously with a field goal kicker, the capability of Josh Miller, that is a big miss.
It is Theodore, number
It is him?
88.
He's
Unless
back.
the program is
If
wrong.
it's him, it's his first time back then, John.
Well, he's rusty. And there's East Brunswick caught on the long pass, something that they have to stop.
Here's the kick. Russell field it at about the 8-yard line, fakes the reverse. And Russ will be taken down around the 22-yard line.
Scott Winfield on a fine tackle there.
Press out to about the 22. Scott Reinfeldt on the tackle. First and 10 for the Bears.
East Brunswick will have 5 seconds left in this period. First and 10, the ball on their own 22, and that'll be it for the first quarter.
Ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the first period.
Well, Phil, what do you think? You think East Brunswick should continue to pass the ball on first down? They have on a number of occasions in the first period.
I think as good as this J.P. Stevens defense is, they're going to have to do something to create inbounds. They're going to have to keep J.P. Stevens guessing. And passing when they least expect it is one of the better ways of doing it.
Right.
J.P. Stevens, as you see, there was a big play there that put them in the lead, but they haven't really done that much more.
One thing I've noticed is that Forte sometimes has a tendency to go to Kenny Pruss in too many situations, and he does have some other fine receivers out there with Rick Oken and Giroux when we see him, and some of his people coming out of the backfield. I have to think that Stevens is keying on Pruss.
Well, they know Pruss is East Brunswick's main man, just like Tony Mayers is their main man. And yes, they're going to give him some extra attention there. So you might have a good point. Maybe throwing to the backs coming out of the backfield or something.
Certainly when Mark Harmon gets his hands on the ball, whether it's being handed off to or being thrown to, he can do some things.
All right, the Bears will start the second period with the ball on their own 22, first and 10. They trail 6-3. Forte hands it off to Miller. It's DeVito.
Number 22.
Joey DeVito.
DeVito stopped for a loss of 1. We'll call it 2nd and 11.
DeVito actually lost yardage, so it'll be 2nd and 11 now. Ball on the East Brunswick 21. Forte on the pass to Hoyt. Hoyt pulls it away, makes the reception.
Pass is complete. To number 4.
All right, it's a completion, but not for, well, okay, 7-yard gain on that play.
3rd and 3. The ball is on the 29-yard line.
First time we've seen that young man, Jimmy.
Right.
Good reception.
It'll be 3rd and 3 now. The ball on the East Brunswick 29. This is Harmon trying to get it to the outside and slips.
The give is to number 24.
Roy, one block and he would have been gone.
Well, it's close to a first down. It is a first down.
First down. First and 10 for the Bears.
And every first down is important for East Brunswick tonight, but certainly after being scored upon in that fashion, they want to get the momentum back, and this at least starts it off again.
I think you can look for a play-action pass here, Jimmy. I think they're going to look like they're going to run, but pass off it.
1st and 10 play. Forte looking deep, no one's there.
Could have been a case of pattern being run the wrong way. Looks like Brian was looking for somebody on the inside.
Bring up a 2nd and 10, ball on the East Brunswick 33. 10:19 to go in the second period. East Brunswick trails 6-3. This is Harmon again. He's going to be dropped. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
Well, I'm sorry, Phil. Really impressed with the way J.P. Stevens pursues the ball.
Well, they've only allowed 72 yards rushing per game for opponents, and most of the teams that they played against have been rushing teams. You're not going to run that much on them.
Obvious passing situation here.
3rd and 10. Forte has some time, looking to the right side to Pruss. He's got him. That'll bring the ball into Stevens' territory.
A real fine pass by Brian Forte. Nice touch. Tim Pruss again showing soft hands and pulls it in.
Ball spotted on the Stevens 44. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears. Forte rolls to his left. Looking down the middle of the field for Hoyt. Just overthrown.
Boy, if Hoyt had just run that pattern just a little bit more, he would have been right under that
If
pass.
he would have kept running his pattern, matter of fact, he stopped. If he'd kept running, he probably would have run right under it. You're correct. I'll tell you, I like the fact that they're passing.
Sure, twice in first down.
I make no bones about it. That's what they have to do if they're going to beat this team. Matter of fact, Coach Simonelli said, I asked him what was he afraid of the most. He said the passing game. He knows East Brunswick is the best passing team that he's seen.
2nd and 10 now for the Bears on the Stevens 44. They trail 6-3. This is Brunig. Brunig finds a nice hole, and he's close to the first down.
Well, go ahead, John. I was going to say, on this drive at least, the offensive line is showing a lot more stability than it did against Perth Amboy. Ryan is getting a little bit more time to throw in the pass, and there's the quick opener with Brunig.
Just short of the Stevens 35.
3rd and 2 now for the Bears on the Hawks 35. Forte will throw on this. Now he's being pressured. He's got Hoyt. First down.
Was that some kind of pass or what?
I'll tell you.
Running against the grain and completing a 12-yard bullet to Hoyt.
Well, it just showed great poise. He even directed his player, Hoyt, as he was going out there to get in the open, and then he passed the ball with 3 guys pressing down on him.
I'll tell you what, if you're a college scout and you realize that this kid is a sophomore, you have to be drooling.
Great talent.
1st and 10 for the Bears. The ball on the Stevens 23. The Bears are threatening. They trail 6-3. This is Brunig. Big hole.
Well, Jimmy, what I was talking about before, again, I was talking about the passing game opening up the running game. And I think that's what you're seeing.
About 6, we'll have 2nd and 3rd.
If you keep them off balance passing when they don't expect it, it's going to open up the running game. And that's what's happening here.
That's correct. And we have a Stevens player injured. I believe that's number 15. Let's hold off before identifying the player because we don't know if it is him or not. Number 16. And that would be Joe Riggy, who is a 2nd-string quarterback. And he's walking off the field with a sore ankle, it looks like.
Well, they've been hit with a lot of injuries. this year. But they have the type of depth that they can just put someone else in there and really not miss a beat.
Unofficially, I have Brian Forte, 6 for 12.
All right, it's 2nd and 4 for the Bears. On the Stevens 17, Forte looking to throw. He's got a man. It's Hoyt again. 1st down.
And that young man has 3 passes caught already to this evening.
And another fine throw by Brian. He just zipped it right in there.
1st and goal for the Bears.
1st down on the 9.
Forte to Brunig. Billy's going to struggle maybe for a yard, and that's about it.
Of course, the yards get very tough down in this territory.
Well, you just can't help but think about last year in the state championship game when East Brunswick ran 4 plays to the right side, trying to score from that very same point, and they were stopped each time by a fine J.P. Stevens defense.
And East Brunswick will call a timeout.
Timeout Bears.
6:30 to go. The 2nd period. East Brunswick trails 6-3, but they have a 2nd down and goal to go at the Stevens 8-yard line.
Speaking of those 4 straight downs last year, you remember those, Jimmy? I think that was really the turning point of the game. They had a player there who was sensational on all of them, J.P. Stevens did. That was Dwayne Bryan. He was a junior last year, you might remember. Well, Dwayne Bryan injured his knee during the very first game against Shawnee and has not played it at all this year.
Right. If there's one thing that's going to stop J.P. Stevens this evening, it is going to be injuries. A lot of key players are hurt or going at less than 100%. So we have to watch that situation.
Kenny DiMatteo, Beth Keller, Sylvia Noon, Karen Bushman, Allegra Hansen, and Michelle Girard.
And of course, East Brunswick has had some problems putting points across when they get inside the 20.
Once again, don't forget this Sunday, everyone's welcome to Route 4.
We have seen Marcus Borden call the pass play to Ken Cross coming across the middle. But as we've seen now, East Brunswick has a new player here now, Hoyt, that can catch the ball, and he's a junior.
All right, the Bears with the 2nd and goal on the 8-yard line. Forte is going to throw, puts it up in the end zone. It's caught by Brunig, touchdown.
And there you go.
That's complete to Bill Brunig.
Bill Brunig on a fine catch. All he had to do is wait for the ball to come down. Brian Forte, again, rolling slightly to the right, lofting the ball up nicely and right in Brunig's hand. A real fine play.
And remember, this drive started deep within East Brunswick's territory. Well, that was well executed, and it's a confidence builder for the Bears at this point.
Josh Miller will attempt the extra point.
Josh Miller try to get the 10th point for East Brunswick.
Ken Cross to hold.
Here's the kick. Right through the uprights, and East Brunswick takes the lead, 10-6.
10, Stevens 6.
Rather fine drive, Phil.
Very nice. So,
Featuring the passing, too.
the one thing that has been established is that they can pass on J.P. Stevens. Coach Simonelli has certainly got to be concerned at this point. Everything that has hurt Stevens to this point has been the pass. And I think you're going to see East Brunswick do it quite a bit, maybe shorten up a little bit, but they're going to be passing that ball.
Right, and it's the type of passing which doesn't generate a lot of yardage. I have Forte for 79 yards in total with 7 completions. And again, the biggest pass completion was the 22-yarder to Press. Very important play, but it's those 7, 8, 9 yarders that has been getting the yardage for East Brunswick.
Well, Jimmy, if Ryan Forte has 79 yards, then he has 11 more yards than any team has been able to average on J.P. Stevens. They've held teams to 68 yards passing per game. So Brian Forte has passed that already.
Miller to kick it off for the Bears.
Very important to contain J.P. Stevens on this kickoff.
This is Mayers from the 2-yard line.
Taken by Katina.
Mayers will get up close to the 25, spotted around the 23.
About the 23-yard line, where the Hawks will have it first and 10.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a good point right here for East Brunswick to assert themselves defensively. If they can do that and shut down J.P. Stevens, they're going to take control of this game.
I have to correct myself with Jeff Hoyt. He's a senior.
Mayers goes in motion. Patrico on the pitch.
And I'll tell you one thing we've learned also about East Brunswick's defense. If they can get themselves a good lead and be inspired by the offense, they really can play to the occasion. We saw that against Woodbridge.
That was Bradley on the carry. He picks up maybe a yard, not even. Let's call it 2nd and 10. The ball on the Stevens 23. They trail 10-6 with 5:35 to go here in the second period. Patrico to Dior. Katina rather.
Katina on the carry. Moves across the 30.
And East Brunswick would like nothing better than to stop Stevens at this point. We've got a 3rd and 2. And if the defense can stiffen here, they could possibly get the ball back in good field position.
Ball on the Stevens 32. It's 3rd and 2. This is Patrico on the keeper. He's going to be close to a first down.
It is close.
First down, Stevens.
Keep going and keep good for a first down.
You're right, Phil, about Patrico carrying the ball in some crucial situations.
He will call his number anytime he feels like it.
34.
Getting a little cool up here, gentlemen.
J.P. Stevens has a great stable of fine backs, but they have no superstar like they did last year with George Booth and previous years. They usually have somebody that carries them, but this year they just have fine balance.
1st and 10, the ball on the 34.
East Brunswick with a 10-man front.
This is Bradley. He's got some running room. Bradley's got the first down and much more into East Brunswick territory.
And this is sometimes what happens when you put that many people on the line. You're looking past, or certainly for a quick opener. And, he got through there and got some big yardage. Now Stevens is out of trouble.
We're down to less than 4 minutes to go before half. The ball is now on East Brunswick 38, 1st and 10 for the Hawks. This is Bradley again, left side this time.
Bradley's really quick on that after he gets the ball.
He's a good-looking running back.
Bradley in over his own left side. Pick up a 5. We'll call it 2nd and 5. The ball on the Bears 34.
All right, Stevens, 2nd and 5 on the East Brunswick 33. They're trailing 10-6. We're down to 3:13. Trico's looking to pass. He's looking for Mayers. Thrown on the wrong side of him. Incomplete.
Well, that was the receiver Sharp, John, on that play who caught the touchdown pass. And again, Rick Oken was behind him.
Fine defensive play, but almost a great offensive play as well.
All right, Rick was just able to get his hand, I'm sorry, he was in front of him, just able to get his hands up to just cause Sharp just to have a little bit of trouble seeing the ball.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Hawks. Tricko flips it out for Bradley. Bradley's going to be short of the first down.
Football is such a game of seconds, mini-seconds. Just that hesitation by Bradley when he couldn't get the handle on the ball was enough for East Brunswick to react, make the stop. So we have another 4th down situation, very important.
4th and 2 for the Hawks.
Well, I think you can look for him to pass here, maybe even a deep play.
We're loaded on the left side.
Bradley, he's going to be short, I think. And East Brunswick takes over.
Nice defensive stand by the Bears.
Real good play.
Really needed it.
I'll tell you, I'm really surprised Simonelli didn't do a little play action and pass off of there. Rather conservative right there, even though it was only for 2 yards.
All right, the Bears will take over. 2:12 to go before half. They're in the lead 10-6. The ball will be on their own 27. Forte hands off to Harmon, I believe.
Carry is by number 44, Mark Dennis.
Phil, you think East Brunswick would pull out all the stops and try to get a score with less than 2 minutes left?
I think they certainly at least try to get a field goal at in this point here, get in position for Josh Miller to do his thing.
Okay, they have 2 of their timeouts left, and let's see. The clock is stopped, but this is for an equipment change. But we have 1.5 minutes left. Here we go, John.
Down to 1:18. East Brunswick with a 2nd and 7.
He's got some room to run. Ooh, that was quite a tackle right there. Let's see if Brian's all right.
Just short of a 40.
And he bounces up and gets back to the huddle.
Oh, well, he bounced up, but he'll remember next time when he gets that close to the sideline and with time going out, the shoot out of bounds. You can't get too cute because somebody may come from the back and hit him just like he got hit there.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 2 for the Bears.
3rd and 2.
Down to 1:05.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to see a pass here if we can do a little quarterbacking on our own. Still have that 1 down. It's only 1.5 minutes left.
Forte looking to throw. He's going to throw it out of bounds.
Well, he had the right idea.
Well, Brian was thrown off his back foot and off balance and everything else. That's why that pass didn't go, and he did that because he was being pressured by J.P. Stevens.
Right, and still, though, they have a 4th and 2. And with less than 1 minute left, should be able to punt themselves out of trouble.
Here's the Florida Hawks. Forte and punt formation.
Forte back to punt. Mayers is back deep. Mayers will take it on the run. Gets away from a few East Brunswick tacklers. He'll go out of bounds. A flag is thrown.
Mayers run out on his own 48-yard line.
I'll tell you, Tony Mayers must have ducked about 4 different tacklers there and picked up some good yardage.
Right, thank goodness for Mark Harmon. He had the speed to run Mayers down. Of course, the penalty is going to negate that run. And Stevens is going to find itself probably back on its own 20, 25, or 30-yard line.
Move the ball back to the Stevens 30-yard line.
We got 46 seconds left. I wouldn't be surprised if Stevens puts the ball up. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Penalty moves the ball back to the Stevens 30-yard line. 1st and 10, they'll have it with 46 seconds. They trail 10-6. Trickle will throw. Looking over the middle for Mayers, and he's got it.
Just a great pair of hands.
1st down. Stevens in a hurry-up offense. 40 seconds.
Mayers on the 45 for a 1st down.
Ball at their own 45. Patrico again looking outside, incomplete. That'll stop the clock. 32 seconds.
Not a lot of time, but you have to remember with Thibodeau, their field goal kicker on the sidelines, even though he missed that extra point, he has shown some ability to hit from distance. So Stevens is looking to get the ball at least inside East Brunswick's 30-yard line.
Second and 10 for the Hawks. Ball on their own 45. 32 seconds before halftime. Patrico will go back again to throw. Thrown down deep. Intercepted. Bill Brunig. Brunig stepped out of bounds. A flag has been thrown.
There goes another one, John. We got 2 flags.
I think we may have an interference call there.
Flag on the field.
There's a possibility of 2 separate calls here. The first flag, you're right, Phil, may have been an interference, or at least it was thrown in that area, but there was a second flag that was thrown up toward the line of scrimmage.
We have defensive interference against East Brunswick and a clip against East Brunswick. They're discussing the options now with Stevens. 22 seconds remain before a half. They'll take the interference call. And that'll move the ball into East Brunswick territory.
Pass interference against the Bears.
I'll tell you, with 22 seconds left, and the problem Theodore has had, I don't think they're looking for a field goal. I think they're looking for a score at this point, a touchdown.
And Mayers is very dangerous in this type of situation. You got to watch Sharp, who caught the first touchdown pass.
1st and 10, Patrico goes into a shotgun formation, down to 11 seconds. This could be a Hail Mary type of situation. No, he's going to try to flip it out to the side to Bradley, incomplete. We'll stop the clock with 4 seconds.
I'll tell you, a very strange play. They tried to drag everybody deep and throw back underneath. I don't know why. I just don't think the field goal kicker has that capacity.
I got to tell you guys, I was at a game last week in which Madison Central was playing Edison, and it was a similar situation. Very little time left, and the quarterback threw a Hail Mary pass, which was grabbed in the end zone. So anything is possible here.
All right, we have 4 seconds before half. Stevens with the ball on the East Brunswick 40. They have a 2nd and 10, but that means very little at this point as Patrico goes into shotgun once again. And he's going to put it up in the right corner. He's looking for Mayers. It's going to be intercepted. Ken Pruss. And so it's halftime. East Brunswick leading 10-6 here at J.P. Stevens Field.
I got to say one thing, John. That was Ken Pruss's first interception of the year, which is very unusual, but it goes without saying that not too many teams have been throwing against East Brunswick this year.
All right, so here at John McGowan Field, we have East Brunswick out in front 10-6 at the half, and we'll be back in a few minutes with second half action. Well, welcome to the second half of the East Brunswick J.P. Stevens game. East Brunswick leads 10-6. And Phil and Jimmy, I've got to think that we've seen a little more excitement and motivation on this side anyway, the East Brunswick side. And it's been a tough, hard-hitting game, a defensive game. Phil, what do you think J.P. Stevens is going to do? They're going to come out and change their philosophy, or more to a passing game?
I think they're probably just going to come out and perhaps show slightly more intensity. In the first half against Cedar Ridge, they were very lackadaisical. In the second half, they came out and drove the ball all the way down for a touchdown. I think they're just going to show the same type of balance that they have and just slightly more intensity.
Jimmy, I think East Brunswick, Marcus Borden has to be pleased with the defensive effort, and the offense seems to be doing what they want at will.
That's right. Very predictable drive on East Brunswick's part when they scored there in the second quarter, yet they did things that Stevens tried to stop and couldn't, and I think that's encouraging. They didn't have to resort to the surprise play. They simply threw when they had to, ran the ball, and as Phil mentioned before, they mixed the plays up, and that's encouraging. But Stevens showed a little towards the end of the first half, and I think East Brunswick's going to have to shut them down.
All right, East Brunswick will kick off to Stevens, and Stevens has two of their better players back deep, and that is Mayers, number 48, and number 87, Sharp. Sharp caught that touchdown pass that temporarily put Stevens in the lead. As we said during the first half, I think one of the pleasant surprises has been the play of Jeff Hoyt, number 4 for East Brunswick.
Well, 3 passes, John.
All right, Josh Miller getting ready now. Kick it off, start the second half. East Brunswick in the lead, 10-6. And here we go. It's going to be Mayers at about the 7-yard line. He reverses it to Sharp. Sharp crosses the 25 down at around the 26.
About the 26 or 27-yard line where the Hawks will have it first and 10.
Well, they gave East Brunswick some of their own medicine with that reverse on the kickoff there.
All right, Stevens will start this second half on their own 26-yard line, first and 10. They trail 10-6.
First and 10 for the Hawks on the 26.
Patrico's at quarterback. Mayers goes in motion. And that's a handoff straight up the middle, number 24. That's Dior.
On the carry.
And he's got the first down, I believe.
And if Kenny Press does not make that tackle, Dior is on his way for a touchdown.
Exactly right.
So Stevens comes out, picks up a first down on their first offensive play of the second half.
We have an official's time for an equipment repair.
All right, Ken Press getting the little equipment check there.
Guys, let's watch that defense that East Brunswick shows.
First and 10 for the Hawks, the ball on their own 37. Patrico's got the ball and he's snuffed down. He's going to lose about, oh, I'm sorry, I was fooled on the play. That's Katina. I'm sorry, Croton, someone new, number 34.
Out to the 42-yard line, where we have a second and 6.
That's a
Second
young.
and 6 for the Hawks on their own 42-yard line.
That Crown's a good, fine runner. He's hurt during the last game, and it's just we're just seeing a little bit of him right now.
All right, second and 6 now for the Hawks. The ball on their own 42. Patrico hands off. This is Bradley. Bradley will be just short of the first down.
45, close to the 48-yard line.
And East Brunswick again showing a multi-man front, putting about 9 or 10 people on the front line, but once Stevens penetrates, they get some good yardage.
Well, Jimmy, it all comes down to what's up front anyway. If you can't block them, you can't stop them, no matter what type of defense you put out there, it's not going to do any good.
All right, Stevens picks up the first down.
First down for Stevens, ball on the just across the 47-yard line.
If you just joined us, we've just started the second half. I'm John Meggiolaro, joined by Phil Hill and Jim Allinder. East Brunswick's in the lead, 10-6, but Stevens has picked up their second first down of this period. 10 minutes left. Quick handoff. This is Crowder again, or Croughton rather.
And 4 running plays and 3 first downs.
Crowder moves over his own right side.
Stevens may have found something during the halftime, Phil.
They're pretty much doing what they were doing before. They do seem to be showing more intensity, though.
Stevens 1st and 10 now on the East Brunswick 38. They have a nice drive going here. Patrico hands off to Bradley. Bradley will pick up maybe a yard.
Bradley on the carry, a pickup of less than 1.
They've been running the ball very well.
Second and still about 10.
Understatement this quarter.
But knowing Simonelli, he's not. He'll surprise you. Even though he's running the ball well, he'll pop a pass in on this drive here.
All right, 2nd and 10. Bradley got back to the line of scrimmage. Ball on the East Brunswick 38. This is Crowder again.
That was DeVito on the tackle.
Sorry, I'm calling him Crowder. Pronunciation is Crowder, number 34. So Crowder's seen some action early here in the second half. Bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Hawks. Ball on the East Brunswick 33. East Brunswick's in the lead, 10-6 with 8:05 to go here in the third period. Patrico's going to pass. Looking to the outside, the ball's going to fall incomplete.
Patrico's pass.
Well, that ball was thrown away. Apparently, Myers was covered on that play.
Yeah, East Brunswick defenders had excellent coverage on it there, Jim.
On the East Brunswick 33.
4th and 4, and it appears as though Stevens will go for it.
As well they should. Ball is deep in East Brunswick's end zone, and in their territory.
4th and 4 on the East Brunswick 33. Patrico fakes, looking over the middle. He's got Mayers, and Mayers drops the ball.
Very difficult pass to catch, John. It was thrown over the shoulders, and Myers tried to bring it in.
He had to try to bring it in, yet it was a catchable pass, Jimmy. This young man has made catches in the past of balls like that. Big break for East Brunswick, however.
So the Bears will take over 1st and 10 on their own 33.
1st and 10 for the Bears on their own 33.
And we have a timeout.
Quickly, John, I had Brian Forte 8 for 15 for 79 yards and the 1 touchdown in the first half.
All right, Forte brings him up. Looking to throw. Just out of the reach of, I think, Matt Miller.
Intended for Matt Miller, throws incomplete, 2nd down.
Jim, that was something that was unveiled at the Perth Amboy game, that is passing to Matt Miller coming out of the backfield. And that was the first time that we saw it this year.
Right, and they had to do something because Pruss was the player that the ball was being thrown to too much.
Okay, 2nd and 10 for the Bears on their own 33. Pruss goes in motion. Forte pitches to Harmon. Harmon's got some running room. He'll pick up about 7 yards.
Well, that's the best run of the day thus far.
Really was. Stevens was grudgingly giving up yardage. It was a good cut by Mark Harmon to pick up that yardage.
Let's call it 3rd and 3 for the Bears. Forte, pitch to Brunig, trying to get around the right side. And Brunig is taken down. Phil, looked like a little confusion on the East Brunswick side. The blockers were just standing there, and then Brunig was tackled from behind.
I'm not quite sure what happened there, but the blockers have to get out of the way. If that was some type of sweep, they got to move out the way. They got to block.
Back inside the 35.
So that'll bring up a 4th down.
33-yard line. We have 4th and 9. With Sharp and Mayers going deep for the Hawks. Forte within a cut formation, standing on about his own 22.
All right, 4th and 9. Forte will punt away for East Brunswick. Ryan gets off a fine kick. It's going to drive Stevens back to their own 20. That's Mayers fighting his way. He'll get up across the 25.
Mayers brings the ball back to about the 26-yard line.
Excellent kick by Brian Forte.
1st and 10.
Myers had thought that he was going to get the ball on about the 30-yard line, but he had to backtrack, and that was just enough to get the East Brunswick defense down there in the coverage.
Next Friday night, the Bombers of Sayreville here at 7:30 p.m.
All right, Stevens has their second possession of this half. They trail 10-6. The ball is just resting over their own 25-yard line. 1st and 10. Patrico and that quick hitter. I didn't see who had the ball.
And it looks like J.P. Stevens, John, is trying to penetrate the middle of East Brunswick's line.
We'll have 2nd and 7. That was just over the 28-yard line.
That's something that Perth Amboy did quite well last week with that fine running back that they have. All right, that'll bring up a 2nd and 7 for the Hawks on their own 29. Again, they go with that quick hitter up the middle. This time it's shut down by East Brunswick, maybe a yard pickup.
It's shut down this time, but J.P. Stevens is very interested in that same play on that same side. I think they feel like they have something there, and they're going to try to exploit it.
Crowder was the ball carrier, and he comes out now. .451 to go here in the 3rd period. East Brunswick out in front, 10-6. 3rd and 6 for the Hawks. Patrico will look to pass. He's looking. He's got a man. That's Mayers. It's a foot race. There's no one going to catch him now. Mayers goes 60 yards.
Well, there's not too much you can say about that play. Matt Miller elected to go for the pass instead of getting behind the defender. And Mayers with his outstandings. Well, you say he doesn't have a lot of speed, but he showed something there, Phil.
He has quickness, Jimmy. He has quickness, and he showed it there.
Well, he quickly got to the end zone.
All right, the Hawks are up now 12-10, and they're going to call a timeout. Phil, do you go for 2?
Well, I'll tell you, 2 may not be bad. That a field goal that would put them up an extra point if Josh Miller should come in to get a field goal. The fact that they've been having trouble kicking the extra point, that seems the likelihood of what they do. And if they do go for 2, John, they're more than likely to come back to Tony Mayers again. A tremendous receiver. I said before, you got probably the 2 finest receivers in Middlesex County out here today, in Ken Pruss and Tony Mayer. That is Tony Mayer's 8th touchdown of the year. He's the leader for the county, for the Twin Counties.
And really, John, what Stevens was able to do was to get one-on-one coverage with Miller going against Mayers, and once he catches the ball, it's just a foot race.
Well, it goes back to something that Phil said before that East Brunswick was doing, running to open up the passing. And here we saw Stevens come out running the ball on the first possession. Second possession, they ran the ball again with Crowder. The second play, they looked for Mayers going to the outside, and he's got it wide open, 60-some yards for a touchdown. So it looks as though J.P. Stevens is giving East Brunswick a little bit of their medicine, and Stevens will go for 2.
Watch for Tony Mayers on this play. Everybody's looking at for him, watching.
All right, Patrico calling signals. And he's going to look to throw for the 2. He's looking in the end zone, incomplete. A little confusion between the receivers and the pass defenders, but no flag was thrown.
Well, John, he was looking for Tony Mayers, and Mayers tried to backpedal to get the ball, tripped over his own feet, and the ball was overthrown.
All right, so Stevens takes the lead 12-10, but a good opportunity was lost there.
Phil, I got to make a little observation about Tony Mayers on that play. I think he realized that the pass was thrown over him and dropped to the ground, thinking that he might get an interference call. It just seemed like it from our vantage point right here.
I think he tripped over his feet.
Okay. Well, you never know what receivers will do.
All right, the Bears will get the ball back. And so J.P. Stevens hangs on to a precarious 2-point lead with 4:29 to go here in the 3rd period. This is going to be Harmon from around the 20-yard line. Mark Harmon's got some running room. Harmon's breaking out to the pack. Woo! Walk on forward, Mark there. Harmon's going to go all the way. Oh, he's pulled down right from behind. We got a flag.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what the flag's going to be. They are calling a clipping penalty on that, and that was not a clip.
They're calling a clip on number 22, Joey DeVito, and I'm inclined to agree with you, Jimmy. Looks to me like the young man got his head in front of the would-be tackler, and yet the official threw the flag.
Mark Harmon broke out of a pack of would-be Stevens tacklers, and a fine block by DeVito. Borden is incensed. He's raged down there, and you can't blame him. And I think Mark Harmon just ran out of a little gas because he had a lead on everyone and was pulled down from behind at the 2-yard line.
Well, they had the angle of pursuit on him, John, and they did catch him. But again, going back to that block, it looked to me like Joey DeVito had his head in front of the would-be tackler, and looked to me like it was a clean block. There were several of the players around him, so it wasn't quite clear to the officials.
All right, so the ball is brought back. They're going to call it a clip against East Brunswick. The Bears will have it 1st and 10 on their own 47. And you hate to say it, but once again, an official's call has seemed to hurt East Brunswick.
Well, if they can come back from this, I think they got to go back to the passing again.
All right, 4:08 left to go, 3rd period. Forte sets up, looking over the middle. He's got his man, Ken Pruss. Pruss is into Stevens territory.
And John, it's a 1st down, and I'm going to say it. I didn't say it before. The last series of plays when East Brunswick had the ball, you had to wonder why they didn't go with what was working. They tried to get that run around there. Stevens has proven that they're very difficult to run on. I would give Stevens what they fear the most, and that is the pass. All sorts of them. Short passes, middle-range passes, and long passes.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Bears on the Hawks 37. This is Matt Miller. Miller pick up maybe a yard. That's about it. We're down to 3:35 in the 3rd period.
Yeah, this is a fast-paced 3rd quarter. There hasn't been a lot of passing, much to Phil's. Well, okay.
I would tend to agree. I was quite surprised with that sweep to Brunig there, when in fact they've been passing on Stevens. Well, we'll see what happens. It's a 2nd and about 9 now for the Bears. The ball on the Stevens 36-yard line. East Brunswick trails 12-10. Pruss goes in motion. And Forte will roll right. Steps up. He's going to keep it. And he'll pick up maybe 2 yards.
Well, it's better than a loss. He was able to get some yardage on that play.
Well, again,
Had the right idea on the pass play.
Let's see if Forte comes to Hoyt here, who comes out wide left. Bryan is in a shotgun formation. 3rd and 9. Forte fires and almost intercepted. He was looking for his draw on the sideline, the far sideline.
Great defensive effort by Tony Mayer.
Mayer appears to be hurt. In fact, that's him. We have a timeout, an injured Stevens player.
That is Tony Mayer, I believe.
And they're looking at an ankle, John. He is in some obvious pain right now.
Josh Miller has come out to attempt a field goal. It's 4th and 9 for the Bears. The ball is on their own 36, so we're looking close to a 50-yarder here.
I tell you, Coach Simonelli says that his team, one big thing about his team this year is that they have great balance and that they don't have any stars, and that made his coaching job a lot easier. They didn't have to depend on anyone to carry him. But I tell you, this Tony Mayers has to be considered their star.
That could be a major injury for Stevens, not only in this game, but for the rest of the remaining games. And we hope it isn't serious.
You know, John, the University of Connecticut is one team that's pretty happy about both of these teams out here, East Brunswick and J.P. Stevens. They have two fine players up there now that are seeing plenty of action. You got Greg, I believe it is Zambrovitz.
Greg Zambrovitz, yes.
Right, and you got George Booth, who scored 2 touchdowns for the University of Connecticut last week. So this area has done well for the University of Connecticut.
Let me just set the stage for you where we're at. We have a timeout, an injured player, Tony Mayers from Stevens. We have 2:17 to go here in the third period. East Brunswick trails 12-10. They have a 4th and about 9 on their own 36, and Josh Miller's out to attempt a field goal.
John, I saw Myers walk off the field under his own power. He doesn't appear to be hurt that bad.
This will be, from what I can tell, Jimmy, around a 43-yarder. Snap is good, the kick is up. It's going to be wide right. So Stevens will take over.
And
go ahead.
And that's really a fine attempt by Josh Miller. You know, his best friend, Whitka, I believe, for Bishop Ard, is the leading kicker in the county. Josh Miller, you got to keep in mind, makes a lot more difficult attempts. Probably if he tried all his attempts from a lot closer in, he'd have a better record. But he tries real long distance shots.
All right, Stevens will take over on their own 20, 1st and 10. We're down to 2:10 in the third period. Patrico hands off to Bradley. Bradley's tripped up. He'll pick up a yard.
John, East Brunswick has to play inspired defense this time around. Really had a bad break against them that time. And the penalty being called, and I definitely want to get the ball back and keep the momentum, because I think they have it on their side right now.
All right, let's call it 2nd and 9, the ball on the Stevens 21-yard line. They're in the lead, 12-10. We're down to 1:35 in the third period. Trico with the ball, looking to throw. He's looking for Sharp, just overthrown. Bring up a 3rd down.
By the way, Tony Myers is not in there.
It's incomplete. 3rd down and 9 on the hook, 21.
Phil, I've got to think with Myers out, he's got to look to Sharp now.
Well, Sharp is the next best receiver, so he probably will. Well, Myers is back in the game, though, John.
Just entered the game.
So with all that said and done, Myers comes trotting onto the field. All right, this will bring up a 3rd down for the Hawks as Patrico goes into shotgun formation. The Bears look like they're blitzing. Here it comes from the backside, and he's hit Patrico just as he was throwing. Fine play there. trying to see who it was. Was it Schaefer?
Fourth down for the Hawks, ball on the 21.
You got it, John. Rob Schaefer on that one. Finally, the 46 defense pays off in a rather important situation.
And I tell you, Rob Schaefer has had some of the hardest hits we've seen this year. He's really come on.
He's been really one of those unsung heroes on defense, putting a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. And it looks like Mayers is going to punt now for the Hawks. And this will give East Brunswick good field position. That's Pruss back for East Brunswick, and we have a flag. Offside East Brunswick.
Well, the 5-yard penalty won't make much difference. They'll still have to punt.
All right, so with the penalty, the ball is brought up to the Stevens 26-yard line. They'll still punt it away. And now East Brunswick drops back not only Pruss, but also Bill Brunick. Mayers, fine kicks, going to drive Brunick back to around his own 40. He reverses it to Pruss. Pruss has got the left sideline. He's gone. He's gone. There's not going to be anyone to catch him. Ken Pruss all the way on the punt return.
And no flags.
And everyone's looking.
John, he picked that up on about his own 40-yard line, and I'll tell you what, I immediately saw a picket line on the left side, on the near side here, and we all knew that he was going all the way.
Well, it was set up very nice, John. They had Brunick handed off to him. The wall was set up totally along the sideline, and Pruss just waltzed all the way in.
Phil, I don't think he could draw it up any better than that.
Not any better than that.
So Ken Pruss goes in with the punt return with a minute to go here in the third period. Puts East Brunswick on top 16-12. And everyone was looking for a little yellow flag on that play.
I tell you, the play's got to be a big lift to this East Brunswick team.
Right, and East Brunswick's going to go for 1 point. But I'll tell you what, with a 4-point lead now, I'm not so sure that they shouldn't go for a 2-point conversion. What's this? Tony Simonelli is, okay, there's an injured player on the Stevens side of the field, John.
Number 84, that's Howard Landsman, who plays tight end for Stevens. All right, so Josh Miller will try to add the 17th point, and we have a game now that seems to be going back and forth here. Momentum keeps switching sides. You know, quite honestly, just an opinion, I often wonder why you keep trying that reverse, and finally it worked. Here's Miller. The kick is up, and it's good. East Brunswick in the lead now, 17-12, with 1 minute to go here in the third period.
Well, I had mentioned before, John, that I thought that East Brunswick had regained the momentum on that clipping penalty. I think the team and the coaching staff was just irate. We saw it. We knew it wasn't a clip. And it just gave East Brunswick a lift that it utilized on defense. But I'll tell you one thing I noticed when Stevens had the ball on that third down situation, Myers was on one-on-one coverage again. East Brunswick is going to have to adjust.
I really have to think that Stevens was looking for a fake reverse, looking to Brunick to just keep the ball, and in fact he did hand it off to Pruss, and Pruss went right down the sideline. So the Bears in the lead, 17-12. If I'm not mistaken, Jimmy, Pruss had a run back last week that was just short of being a touchdown. So he's a threat no matter where he is on the field.
Any position on the field, John.
All right, Josh Miller teeing it up. Mayers is back deep. Fine kick by Miller. Mayers will take it at around the 7. Here's a fake reverse. Mayers still has it. Hit hard, bounces off one tackler, but he's going to be dropped around the 12-yard line. And Stevens has had poor field position this second half.
That's a big point. Field position is very, very key here. Even on that long touchdown that Myers was able to run, Stevens did it from deep in their own territory.
Well, this is the time for East Brunswick defense to assert themselves, and if they can assert themselves, they can hold on to this game. The
ball's been spotted at the Stevens 12. They'll have it 1st and 10. as the Hawks trail 17-12 with 41 seconds to go here in the third period. There's that quick hitter. And that's difficult for us to pick up a number. We'll try our best. It looked to be 24, Dior.
Most important, John, Stevens only got 2 yards on that play.
And that may be it for the third period. We're down to about 10 seconds. And that's it. That'll be it for the third period. East Brunswick in the lead, 17-12.
Well, what can you say? Both teams scoring on big plays. Actually, East Brunswick has only had the ball for one series. Am I right, gentlemen? This quarter? And that being that drive that they started in their own territory that did not yield anything. But with a 17-12 lead, things have to be looking good now. Of course, we have 1 quarter to play. The defense has to continue playing tough. They have shown time and again throughout the season that if they can bend a little, or if they can contain that for a while, they seem to rise to the occasion as the game winds on. They're going to have to certainly do it here.
Well, Jimmy, you're right.
I think Phil mentioned the key word, and that is assert themselves, both offensively and defensively. And if they could shut Stevens down here and then get some sort of points on the board, it puts Stevens into a game plan that they're not comfortable with, and that is throwing the ball. All right, we have a 2nd and 7 for the Hawks. They're on their own 14 as we start the fourth period. This is Bradley trying to get to the outside. He'll pick up a couple.
Good defense by that left side of East Brunswick line there, and that's what they got to do.
Now to about the 17. 3rd and 5.
Here's a big play for Stevens. 3rd down, and if they can't pick up the first, East Brunswick's going to have the ball with good field position. We're talking 3rd and 5. The ball is on the Stevens 16.
I'd watch out for the tight end here.
Trico setting up the pass, looking over the middle. It's going to be picked off by Press. We got a flag thrown down.
Pass intercepted by number 20, Ken Press.
Yeah, most definitely interference on East Brunswick's part, no doubt about it.
That would give the Hawks a 1st down. It is pass interference against the Bears. And I hate to mention this, but penalties have been a nemesis to East Brunswick this season. And obviously no penalty is a timely one, but this one really is critical.
Well, it really hurt. The thing about it is that the interference did not occur by Kenny Pruss. It occurred by another defensive back there who hit the East Brunswick player before the ball was in the air.
I'll tell you one thing, there was about 5 people around Tony Myers that time.
So the Hawks will have it, a 1st and 10 on the penalty. The ball is moved up to their own 31. 11-12 to go here in the fourth period. Patrico is going to throw. The ball is deflected at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's number 44 for East Brunswick. John Flynn. Fine play, got in there and got his hand up.
Definitely so.
2nd and 10 for the Hawks. Trico calling signals. He's rolling right. The pass, the ball is dropped, fumbled. I think Stevens recovered.
And Phil, East Brunswick's defense is coming alive.
I tell you, wow, they really showed something there, and that could have been a really big play if they could have recovered the ball.
Joe DeVito made the hit on Patrico. He fumbled the ball, but it was recovered by Stevens. But a big loss.
Still in all, that is a big play because it sets up a 3rd and long, and East Brunswick, at the very least, can defend for a medium pass and still not have Stevens get the first down. So they look in good shape here. All they need to avoid is the big play.
All right, 3rd and 20. The ball is now back on the Stevens 21. Trico looking to throw, being pressured, looking down the sidelines for Sharp. Let's see what the call is. Out of bounds. An incomplete pass. Ken Pruss on the coverage.
Touch by Sharp was out of bounds.
I'll tell you,
That was close.
a very close play there, and they're very fortunate the young man stepped out of bounds. Otherwise, they would have had first down.
Hey, you know, a team is 5-0 at this point. They got to be doing some things right, you know. East Brunswick knows it has to stop, you know, the big pass for first down, yet Stevens is able to get somebody open. They've got quality people.
You know, it's uncanny, but every time East Brunswick plays Stevens, there's always 1 or 2 plays where there's a man wide open, and we're seeing some of that tonight again. And that's a credit to the Stevens coaching staff, I would say. So Stevens is in a punt formation. Mares will do the punting. Brunig and Pruss are back. East Brunswick should come away with good field position. Here's the punt by Mayers. Short. They'll let it roll, and it's going to be down by the Stevens player. Around midfield.
John, while we got a second, I want to just quickly recap the soccer team's performances. The boys, of course, are 15-2-1, have been given the top seed in the Greater Middlesex Conference Tournament, and they beat East Brunswick Tech this past Thursday. The girls are 18-0. They are also seeded number 1, and they had their first game this past Sunday.
All right, the Bears will come out. It's on their own 48-yard line, 1st and 10. 9:43 to go in the game. They're in the lead, 17-10. Looking for Hoyt, incomplete. 17-12 rather, the score.
I tell you, the young man Hoyt didn't catch that ball, but he didn't catch it because he didn't look the ball in. He just didn't have good concentration on that time. We've seen him make some fine catches earlier in the game, but that time he did not look the ball in.
I think this is where you look for a nice sustained drive, eat up 5-6 minutes of the clock. 2nd and 10. Forte, a pitch to Brunig. Flag is thrown.
We have a flag on the play. The ball carrier just over the midfield stripe.
It's thrown in that area where it's usually holding, John.
East Brunswick. Carrier that play by number 2.
It is against East Brunswick. It is a hold, Phil. You called it. And that'll move the ball back.
John, you said something about Stevens having quality people. It seems like they always come up with a big play against East Brunswick towards the later part of the game, and I can't help but thinking that we're sort of holding our breath here as we're watching this game, wondering what's going to happen next.
Well, if anyone thinks we're out of this yet, better not leave for the refrigerator. We have 9:32 to go in the game. East Brunswick in the lead, 17-12. They have a 2nd and 23, though, and the ball's moved back to their own 35. Little option play here. Forte still has the ball. Forte will pick up about 8 yards. Way shy of the first down, though.
Just across the 40 or the 41.
That appeared to be a design play where Brian was either going to pitch back or just keep the ball. He elected to go forward, got himself some decent yardage. I have to think that East Brunswick is going to try to pick up some decent yardage here, maybe not the first down, and try to punt it out of trouble.
Clock is running. We're down to 8:53, 4th period. Forte in a shotgun formation, 3rd and 18 on the East Brunswick 41. He's got time. Now he's being pressured and tackled. He'll be dropped at his own 30. Play just took too long to develop.
Well, a host of J.P. Stevens tacklers sacked Brian Forte. He was looking for Kenny Pruss, who had gone deep down the middle of the field. He probably had him in his sight, but before he knew it, J.P. Stevens closed down on him.
Well, if there's a time for Brian Forte to get off a good punt, this is it.
Forte will do the punting for East Brunswick in this situation. 4th and 25. The ball is at the East Brunswick 31. And a good punt. This is going to be fielded by Sharp at around his own 30.
Sharp moves out to about the 40-yard line, where the Hawks will have a 1st and 10.
Well, Jimmy, you may be a prophet.
I don't want to be, John.
Well, I'll tell you, John, it's 7 minutes, 54 seconds left. JP Stevens is the winningest team in this decade, in the decade of the 80s, and if they have anything, they better show it now.
All right. The call is now on the East Brunswick defense. Patrico up the middle. That's Dior with the carry.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. 2nd and 8 for the Hawks.
And the clock continues to run, John.
Well, we may see a little bit of a lull here, or a luring in. Run, pass, and we'll see what happens. 2nd and 8 for the Hawks on their own 47. Patrico hands off. This is number 18. That's Katina. Katina has a 1st down.
Good for a 1st down. Just across the East Brunswick 35.
I think it's important to mention that Stevens is behind by 5 points. They cannot go for any field goal. They need a touchdown.
I don't think field goal entered their mind at this point. It's getting exciting here now. The crowd's up on their feet. Handoff to Tina again.
Got himself some good yards there.
Well, they got a good mixture going there. Just when you think they might pass, they are running, and they're picking up good yardage.
To the 41-yard line, 42-yard line will be 2nd down.
All right, the Hawks will have a 2nd and 6. Ball on the East Brunswick 41.
I would grab Tony Mayers right now. I would knock him down before he ever gets out of his tracks.
5:50 to go in the game. East Brunswick in the lead, 17-12. Katina once again.
So about the 39-yard line, we're going to have a 3rd and 4.
Let me tell you, the hitting's getting pretty fierce down there.
Just across the East Brunswick 40-yard line.
3rd and about 4 now for the Hawks.
Well, they have 2 downs, and you know they're going to use both these downs in this drive. They're going to use 3rd down, and they're going to use 4th down as well. So they got 2 passing downs. More for that fact, they got 2 running downs if they feel they can pick up that 1st.
All right, 3rd and 4. This is Katina once again, trying to get to the outside.
Great tackle over there.
Short of the 1st.
Who goes on his own right side.
I don't even think he picked up a yard.
Right, you know, that was Larry Novak on that tackle, number 72, I believe. That was the middle guard on the defense making a very big tackle.
Big play.
The East Brunswick 37-yard line.
All right, 4:30 to go in the game. A 4th and 3 for the Hawks on the Bears 37.
Very big play.
Katina once again. Oh, let's see where they spot it.
Close, John.
Well, look where the official is marking it. Oh, this is going to be close.
Very close. Oh, mercy.
They're going to call for a measurement.
If they made it, it's by the nose of the football.
A fraction.
By the paint on the ball. We're waiting for them to bring the chains across.
4:18, and this has to be the biggest measurement of the year for East Brunswick.
And for Stevens. Let's see if we can pick it up for you.
The crowd is silent.
They're short.
Oh, mercy.
They're short.
East Brunswick has held.
Okay, there's still, though, plenty of time. This game is not over, right, gentlemen?
Now is up to East Brunswick offense
to control that ball.
Right, the Bears definitely need to get a first down here. Keep things going.
And we should say up front that both teams have their timeouts.
Good point, John.
We're down to 4:09 in the game. East Brunswick in the lead 17-12. And here we have a timeout. Oh, they're waiting for the linesman to get set up.
There goes the clock running. Boy, I'll tell you, I'd let the clock run on this a good period of time. Let's snap the ball.
Ball on East Brunswick 35. First down. Harmon. Harmon tries to get away and runs backwards and is going to be dropped for substantial loss. Back to his own 25.
Harmon on the carry. Picked by Curtis Sharp.
Well, Jimmy, I'll tell you, you're going to see something here. We've been talking all year about Marcus Borden's guts and how he does the unexpected trick plays. Everybody in the stadium expects him to try to run that clock right now, and he just might do something different. A first down is crucial at this point.
2nd and 20 now from the Bear 25. Forte is going to throw. He's being pressured. Puts it up in the air. It's complete.
It's complete, but it's for a few yards, but East Brunswick player, who was it, Ken Pruss, stepped out of bounds.
Back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, stepped out of bounds, though, and that stops the clock.
But it brings a 3rd and 10 up rather than a 3rd and 20.
I don't mind telling you, I like what I saw, though. Like I said, everybody was looking for him to run some time off the clock, and they tried to put that ball up to get that all-important first down, and that shows a lot of guts.
3rd and 10, the ball on the Bear 35-yard line. Forte in a shotgun formation. 3:12 to go in the game. Forte looking. He's got a man. It's Pruss. He's open. Pruss has got the first down.
And there is the biggest play of the game and perhaps the season for East Brunswick, because that really puts a down on J.P. Stevens. They're going to have to start using timeouts. East Brunswick has, there's 3 minutes and 6 seconds left, John. Very, very big play right there.
I go back to what I said before. It took some guts to do that. Anybody could have held on the ball to try to run out the clock, run down the clock, and then punt the ball. East Brunswick knew they had to get that first down. They knew they had to get it by putting that ball in the air, and that's just what they did.
Well, I don't know who said it, but sometimes offense is your best defense.
Oh, that's a good one.
Brunig now on a first down play. One thing, error-free ball on East Brunswick's part in terms of fumbles or turnovers.
That's very true, John. I'm surprised that Stevens hasn't called a timeout here.
We're down to 2:49. Clock is running. They bring up a 2nd and 7 on the East Brunswick 47. Forte is going to put it in the air. He pumps. He's going to lay it up. He's looking for Giroux. Just over his head.
Well, if you look at the East Brunswick side, there's one of the coaches there who's complaining about an interference call.
Looked like there could have been a little bumping, but I don't know. Joe Giroux on that. That's the first time we've seen Giroux today.
Right.
I think it's fair to say they were both going for the ball, and that's the way the rule book reads. Anyway, it brings up a 3rd and 7 for East Brunswick. 2:23 to go. If they pick up a first here, it could seal it for them.
It could, John. You never know with J.P. Stevens.
Oh no, the last couple of years we've seen some crazy things at this field. All right, Forte. He's going to throw. 3rd down. He lost it in the air, looking for Giroux again. Incomplete. He'll stop the clock. More importantly, it'll bring up a 4th down.
Well, Brian didn't have a chance to set himself and had to throw while backing up, and the ball fell short, unfortunately.
Well, maybe you could say Stevens had a forewarning, but by not using those timeouts, they're going to get the ball back and have their 3 timeouts.
Well, East Brunswick's defense carried them in the early part of the season, and East Brunswick's defense is going to have the opportunity to make their season with this game today.
All right, Forte will punt on a 4th down. Mayers is back for Stevens. Big rush. The ball, I think, may have been partially
Roughing the kicker. We got a roughing the kicker play here, John.
It sure is.
Then it wasn't touched. The ball was not touched then.
Oh, wow, what an untimely penalty by J.P. Stevens, which is going to give East Brunswick the ball back with a 1st down.
Well, Stevens played its card. They were going for block on it, and they came up empty. So many times, John, we've seen it work for J.P. Stevens. This time it doesn't. East Brunswick is in excellent shape now.
I thought it was partially blocked, but obviously it wasn't. And so it'll be a 1st and 10 for the Bears. They'll keep possession of the ball, more importantly, with 2:13 to go.
I'll tell you, you don't know what to say. J.P. Stevens was going for all the gusto, but then why? Why? They're about to get the ball back on a punt, and they do have the tools to move it down the field, but they took the chance, and they have to pay for it.
All right, the ball is on to Stevens 35. 1st and 10 for the Bears. They're in the lead 17-12. 2:13 to go in the game. This is Miller. We're going to, I think, start to see Stevens use those timeouts now. And there is a timeout. And it is against Stevens.
Yeah, I have to think that East Brunswick is not going to throw the ball now. They did their job. You're right, Phil, to take a lot of guts, especially to throw in their own territory with this much time. But, hey, listen, you go with what goes best for you.
Well,
Brian Forte has been passing well all year.
Well, again, I don't know if the player went on his own there or Simonelli sent the blitz in. I have to think that the coach okayed the blitz that much, but it's just such a dangerous play at a crucial time.
You're talking about on the punt play.
I'm talking about on the punt play.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's too early to speculate or what, but if East Brunswick does prevail in this game, this is going to take a lot of sting away from the disappointment of this year. And we've already mentioned they still have a possibility of making the playoffs if things fall into place.
I think more importantly, Jim, too, there's a little bit of sweet revenge here. And the other aspect is that this is a young East Brunswick team. They're going to look back on this game next year and the years after to say, hey, this is what we can do when we work together, when we think together and are motivated to play. All right, East Brunswick now. 2nd and 8, the ball on the Stevens 34. Grunig finds a hole up the middle, pick up a few yards. As the clock starts to run again, we're down to 1:53.
I think the Stevens PA system is trying to take some revenge out on us. That whining noise is not coming from our equipment people.
East Brunswick has to hold on to this ball and get this 1st down here. If they can do that, the game is over.
And look, Stevens is not calling timeout.
We're down to 1:34. Clock is running. East Brunswick should take as much time as they can in that huddle. 3rd and 4, and we're going to have a delay of game against East Brunswick.
Well, it's just a smart penalty at this stage. Well,
that'll move them back 5.
Well, it's a smart penalty maybe. They needed about 4 yards for a 1st down. I don't know if Marcus Borden actually planned that.
All right, that'll bring up a 3rd and 9 now for the Bears. The ball's moved back to the Stevens 34. 1:24 left in this game. Forte hands off to Harmon. Harmon jumps over one tackler to pick up about 2 yards. Down to 110, and a timeout will be called by Stevens.
John, I'm looking at statistics, passing statistics, if that means anything, and really it doesn't. But Forte did manage to complete 12 passes this evening in 22 attempts. That's a fine evening.
You know, when you sit back and you think about it, when you go from 1 week to the next, from Perth Amboy to Stevens, and just the change in the team, and obviously Marcus Borden had a lot of work to do this week. He did it. His coaching staff obviously supported him, and we're seeing that the East Brunswick that we know, that we saw at Edison.
Yeah, well, we thought that, I know a couple of us were talking anyway, that we thought East Brunswick could win this game. We said that at the top, and certainly it's come through. At least we think so at this point.
Well,
keep on saying that.
Again, it goes back to what high school football is all about. Coaches will tell you certain things that happen that I heard everyone, I didn't see the game, but everyone said Perth Amboy played over their heads, they played a great game. But you have to know in your gut that East Brunswick probably was looking towards this game. And then by losing, JP Stevens may not have as much respect as they might have had for him if they would have come in there winning. So strange things happen in high school football.
All right, we're down to 1:10, a 4th and 6 for the Bears. Forte's gonna pass. Flag is thrown, he's looking in the corner for Pruss. Pruss has got it, a touchdown, but let's see what the flag is. It's against East Brunswick. I think a holding call.
Holding play, John. Holding call. I'll tell you, regardless of whether it was a holding play or not, a beautiful pass and a nice reception by Kenny Pruss. I think that might be the finest pass that I've seen Brian Forte throw. We've seen him wing it before, but he had a Steve Hughes touch on that pass there.
Push the Bears back.
I'll tell you what, gentlemen, with 1:03 left, I still have this ominous feeling that Stevens somehow can pull this game out. I don't know why, but I'm just not going to take anything for granted until this game is over with. East Brunswick's going to have to punt the ball now.
Well, Jimmy, it is Halloween, and some strange things can happen on Halloween. But I think the strange thing that has happened is really that JP Stevens has been tricked, and I think East Brunswick has been treated because I believe their defense is going to hold.
All right, we'll see. 1:03 to go in the game. East Brunswick, a touchdown being taken away because of the penalty, and Marcus Borden has called a timeout to talk with his troops. They're facing a 4th and 23. The ball at the Stevens 48. I think you've got to punt it away.
You know, we're talking about upsets this year. In the years that I've been covering sports, high school sports, I think that used to be a little overplayed about anything can happen on any given week, because I think high school football is a little bit more predictable than the college or professional type. That's just my own opinion. But this year I will have to say, there has been, every week it's been different.
Well, Jimmy, from my perspective, there just hasn't been the dominant teams as like you have seen in the past around the county. There have been teams that you know that they're just going to whip everybody, and they whip everybody.
And that's kind of good to see that.
And we got parity, we got some balance, and it does make for much more exciting football.
All right, Forte looks like he's in a punt formation, and I'm sure he will punt. Stevens drops Mayers back deep. And it's a fake. Forte throwing the ball. He's got Oken, I believe.
Short of the first down, however.
It was Oken.
Short of the first down.
Stevens will take over. It'll be a 1st and 10 with 55 seconds.
Well, it ends up as being almost a short punt here. So here we go, folks. The clock is running. I don't believe Stevens has any more timeouts. Do they, John?
I'm not sure, Jim.
Well, it's up to the East Brunswick defense to do what they got to do right now.
We're down to 45 seconds. The ball is on to Stevens 27. They're a little confused. Patrico will throw. He's got time. Looking over the middle for Sharp, and Sharp drops the ball.
Mercy, 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 right in his hands.
27 seconds to go.
Right in his hands with the defender falling down, and the young man dropped the ball.
My God, I had visions of George Booth.
Yeah, the JP Stevens, great runner of last year. We've seen him break him with no time left. And you know, JP Stevens' first game of the year there, they pulled it out in the last few seconds.
All right, 27 seconds are left to be exact. A 2nd and 10, the ball on the Hawks 27. Yardage does not mean anything at this point. Patrico going back again. Little swing pass out to Bradley. Taking up a lot of time. Bradley's kept on the field of play. Clock is running. Timeout for a first down.
You're right, John. It's taking a lot of time. That's hurting Stevens at this point.
18 seconds. They'll mark the ball and start the clock.
Here it goes.
15. Patrico throws it out of bounds to stop it.
Well, you have to wonder why that receiver didn't just take the ball to the sidelines out of bounds at that time to stop the clock for good. That sort of hurt the J.P. Stevens team right there.
Okay, here's the situation. 13 seconds remain in the game. East Brunswick in the lead, 17-12. The Hawks have the ball, 2nd and 10 on their own 49. Maybe time for 2 plays, possibly.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Marcus Borden tackle Anthony Mayer at this point. You got to keep him in. You can't let that kid get loose.
All right, Patrico brings him out. Mayer, they've got double coverage. Patrico drops straight back, being pressured. He's going to be stopped. That'll be the game. That'll be it.
And chalking up for East Brunswick.
John Flynn, Patrico quickly, the game's over. John Flynn tackles Patrico, and that'll be it.
Oh, great victory for East Brunswick. Coming here, upsetting J.P. Stevens, rated number 4 in the state of New Jersey.
And look at the East Brunswick team. The kind of emotion that was missing last week.
And you can sort of feel about 3 years worth of frustration sort of dissipate in the air this evening for East Brunswick.
You're right about that, Jimmy.
In what respect there, Phil?
Well, you remember those games, 1984, the state championship, where they lost 27-26, and during the regular season, 18-17, and then again in the state championship in 1985, 19-7, and they come back with a great victory today.
I've got to say it again, it's sweet revenge. And I know the 3 of us, after last year, look forward to this game all summer and up to this point, this season. A big win for East Brunswick, a win that's going to help not only this year, but in the years to come. I really believe it.
And just looking at the total playoff picture, again, we don't know how much of an impact this is going to have for East Brunswick. It certainly can't hurt them because they do have to just to continue to win, but it just throws the whole Group 4 playoff situation up in the air.
I want to say one thing before we close, and that is I want to thank Pete Canamessa and Dave Ambrosi for doing a phenomenal job in setting the equipment. I mean, these guys were running extension cords all over. They rented, and we must thank the library. Through the library, they rented a generator to provide us power. We are not in the best of vantage points, really makeshift, if you will, kind of situation. So it's a credit to both Pete and Dave, and we thank them for their help and effort. As you see, Marcus Borden now talking with his troops. East Brunswick, 17-12 over Stevens.
Hey, they're clapping because this is their state championship. They know they may not reach a state championship. They came in here with a mission. They were going to beat the number 4 team in the state, and they've done that. They've pulled out all the stops. Marcus Borden showing a lot of guts in very tight situations, and it's a well-deserved victory for a very young East Brunswick team.
John, I just want to take a look at the remaining schedule. You know, we have Cedar Ridge next week. The Cougars have 1 win this year. They're not a formidable opponent, but yet Perth Amboy wasn't supposed to be a formidable opponent either. So I don't think East Brunswick is going to allow itself to go into a letdown. And of course, we finish out the season with a home game at Saraville. That will also be at J. Doyle Field. So if East Brunswick can win those 2 remaining games, they're going to end up with a rather fine, what it would be, 5-3-1 season?
5-2-1.
5-3. Let's see. The record brings it up to 4-2. Okay, yeah, it would be 6-2-1. Okay.
All right, and we'll be covering both the Cedar Ridge and the Saraville games for you. But again, let's just close things out here. East Brunswick with a big win tonight against J.P. Stevens, an undefeated J.P. Stevens. East Brunswick winning 17-12. So for Jim Allinder and Phil Hill, I'm John Meggiolaro, thanking you for being with us.